In this video, we'll discuss how to use an LLC holding company for real estate. But before we get started, I first want to discuss what a holding company is, because there's kind of a lot of confusion out there. So in short, a holding company is a company that holds your interest in other assets. And this is also called a parent company. And this parent company owns your interest in subsidiary companies that are beneath it. So this is kind of like a parent-child relationship, but it's a great way to protect your investments. So how are holding companies used? Well, they're a great entity structuring tool for real estate. And this is because you have the holding company on top, and that holding company holds your interest in the subsidiary companies beneath it. And in this case, the subsidiary companies would be LLCs that hold title to your rental properties. And when you use these holding companies, why should you use an LLC as your entity selection? Well, this is because LLCs are the most flexible entity and they offer you with liability protection. And this is why we use LLCs for both the parent company as well as the subsidiary companies beneath it. The first main benefit of the LLC is the tax benefits that it offers. And this is because LLCs can either be taxed as C Corps, S Corps, partnerships, or disregarded entities. Now with the C Corp, you are subject to the double taxation, which is where you pay the 21% tax at the corporate level and then a second tax at your individual rate if any dividends are paid out. LLCs can also be taxed as S Corps as well. And this is where you set a salary for yourself and you're subject to the self-employment taxes on that salary that you pay yourself. And this self-employment tax is worth 15.3%. However, if you use LLCs in your real estate structure, we don't recommend having them be taxed as C Corps or S Corps. And this is because generally, when you use C Corps and S Corps, you're gonna have to pay more in tax. And on top of that, if you transfer title to your rental properties in and out of an LLC that's taxed as a C Corp or an S Corp, the IRS deems that a taxable event. So you're gonna have to pay more in taxes in those situations. However, you avoid all these issues if the LLC is either taxed as a partnership or a disregarded entity. Because in that situation, if it's taxed as a partnership, everything just flows on to the partner's individual returns. And if it's taxed as a disregarded entity, everything flows on to that one member's individual returns. And in both of those situations, you're not going to face the adverse tax consequences when you hold title to real estate in a C Corp or an S Corp. And you'll want to make sure that you make the correct entity classification election when you set up this LLC. You don't want to be taxed as a C Corp or an S Corp. However, if you have a good CPA, they'll be able to help you here. The second benefit of using an LLC is the ownership flexibility that it offers. LLCs can be owned by individuals, other entities, as well as trusts. However, this can't be the case if your LLC is taxed as an S Corp, so just be aware of that. The third benefit to using an LLC is the management flexibility that it offers. LLCs can either be member managed, where only the members of the LLC can manage the affairs, or they could be manager managed, where you can hire an outside manager to manage the company for you. Other entities, on the other hand, like corporations and limited partnerships, don't have as flexible of a management structure. And the most important benefit of using an LLC is that they offer better liability protection than other entities do. And this is because if the LLC is sued, all of the members' liability is limited to what they put into the LLC. And this is not the case if you use a limited partnership to invest in real estate. If somebody sues the limited partnership, the general partner is on the hook for all liability in that situation. And the best way to avoid this is by setting up an LLC from the beginning. Because even if you are the manager, your liability is going to be limited to what you put into the LLC. So with all of this in mind, how do you use an LLC holding company for real estate purposes? Well, you'll have the holding company LLC on top, and beneath that, you'll have the subsidiary LLCs that hold title to each property. For the holding company, in most cases, this will be a Wyoming LLC. And this is because Wyoming LLCs offer anonymity because your name is not listed on the Wyoming Secretary of State's website. Another benefit is that it's a very affordable option to set up. It only costs $100 to form, and the annual filing fees are $62 a year. But the main reason to use a Wyoming LLC is the asset protection benefits that it offers. And this protects you from the outside attack. And this attack is when you're sued personally. And the reason why it protects you from the outside attack is that Wyoming LLCs offer the charging order protection. Now, I've done a ton of videos on the charging order protection, so go ahead and check those out. But what happens is, if you're sued personally and you lose in court, it's much harder for that person to reach the assets in your Wyoming LLC and the assets beneath them. And another benefit here is that when you acquire new rental properties and set up new subsidiary LLCs for each of them, that same Wyoming LLC holding company can own your interest in those new LLCs. So what this means is you don't need to form additional holding companies when you set up a new subsidiary company beneath it. However, you're free to do so if you so choose. And as for the subsidiary LLCs beneath the holding company, those subsidiary LLCs will be used to hold title to your rental properties. And this LLC will be set up in the state where the property is located. And this LLC protects you from the inside attack. And this inside attack is where the tenant sues for any issues on the property. And in this situation, they would sue the LLC, and they would only be limited to collecting from the equity inside that rental property. So what this means is if the tenant sues, they can only collect from the assets held inside that one LLC. They can't reach anything else in most situations. And having this structure in place can be a great tool for property management. Now, as you can see, there are lots of benefits to using this structure. When you have a holding company on top, it protects you when you're sued personally, and when you have subsidiary companies beneath it, they limit what the tenant can collect if they were to sue for any issues relating to the property. And if you need help forming a holding company LLC or subsidiary LLCs beneath it, we here at Corporate Direct would be happy to assist you. You can schedule a free 15-minute consultation with one of our incorporating specialists by clicking the link in the description below. I also have a new book called The 5 Tricks to Teach Your Kids About Money. You can download the book for free by clicking the link in the description below. If you're looking to start a business, you can schedule a free 15-minute consultation with us at Corporate Direct by also clicking the link in the description below. And as always, please make sure to like, subscribe, leave a comment, and turn on that notification bell. And I should warn you, the contents of this video are not legal advice and no attorney-client relationship has been formed.